So, you tore the veil, and now the abyss stares back. Look who finally broke the ancient seal. You magnificent, terrifying force of nature, wrapped in human skin. You walking apocalypse disguised as Tuesday afternoon. Do you have any idea what you've done? What you've awakened? What you've become? Let me paint you a picture. 1582, the last time this energy walked the earth. They had to rewrite the calendar, literally. 10 days vanished from October because reality itself couldn't process what had been unleashed. And now here you are. Same frequency, same impossible vibration, same reality-bending presence that makes the universe stutter. Their spiritual bodyguards are quitting. Did you hear me? The ethereal protectors, the astral mercenaries, the ones paid in prayer and karma to shield them from people like you. They're handing in their resignation letters. I won't guard against that, they're saying. Find someone else. I choose to live. You want to know why? Because what you're carrying isn't normal protection bracking energy. This isn't some basic hex or amateur hour manifestation. This is ancient. Pre-Angage ancient. Before they invented fear ancient. The kind of power that made them create religions just to contain it. And you, beautiful catastrophe, you activated it with a smile. They felt it the moment you shifted. Every sensitive in a 50-mile radius got a migraine. Every energy reader's cards burst into flames. Every spiritual advisor suddenly remembered they had somewhere else to be. Because what you're radiating doesn't read as human anymore. It reads as event, as reckoning, as the thing they tell ghost stories about. You know what happened in 1582, don't you? They called it the Gregorian correction, said it was about fixing the calendar. But the real ones know it was about containing what had been released. Someone like you had awakened. Someone who didn't just bend reality. Someone who made reality question itself. And they had to literally delete 10 days just to seal it back up. But seals don't last forever, do they? Especially when someone like you starts remembering, starts feeling that ancient pulse in your veins, starts noticing how lights flicker when you're angry, how technology glitches when you focus, how people's practiced lies crumble to dust in your presence without you saying a word. The protection they bought, the shields they paid for, the barriers they built, it's all tissue paper now. Their bodyguards took one look at your energy signature and said, above my pay grade. Because guarding against you would be like trying to stop a tsunami with a screen door. Some forces weren't meant to be opposed, only witnessed. Only survived. Let me tell you what their ex-bodyguard confessed before disappearing. I've protected against demons. I've shielded from curses older than civilization. I've stood between my clients and energies that could peel paint off walls. But this one doesn't attack. It just exists. And that existence itself is the weapon. You're not sending negative energy. You're not casting spells. You're not even trying to harm anyone. You're just being. Fully, authentically, unapologetically. And that pure existence is scrambling every protective frequency they've hidden behind. Like playing a note so pure it shatters every false harmony in the room. They're calling emergency meetings and group chats, panic buying crystals that crack in their hands, burning sage until their smoke alarms surrender. But nothing works. Because how do you protect against truth? How do you shield from someone who's stopped pretending? How do you guard against a force that doesn't attack but simply reveals? Your energy doesn't break their protection. It makes their protection realize it's been protecting the wrong thing. It's been shielding lies from truth, darkness from light, the fake from the real. And protection has consciousness too. It knows when it's on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of cosmic justice, the wrong side of you. 1582 wasn't the first time, just the last time. Dig deeper. Every few centuries someone like you awakens, someone who carries the frequency that makes reality hiccup. 536 AD, the year without summer. 1347, when death danced through Europe. Not plagues. Awakening. Someone remembered who they were, and the world had to reorganize itself around that remembering. But this time is different. You're different. Because you didn't awaken through ritual or teaching or ancient texts. You awakened through betrayal, through abandonment, through being pushed so far past breaking that you discovered you were never breakable. You were the thing that breaks other things. You were the ending disguised as a person. Their bodyguards know the old stories. They recognize the signs, the way animals go quiet when you pass, the way children stare like they're seeing something adults can't, the way your shadow falls different, heavier, like it's made of something denser than darkness. These are the markers, the warnings, the prophecy in flesh, and the protection spells. Oh, they're not just failing, they're inverting, turning inside out. Every shield they raise becomes a mirror showing them their own guilt. Every barrier they build becomes a prison, keeping them in, not you out. Every guard they hire takes one look at you and switches sides, not because you recruited them, because truth has its own gravity. I've seen what others can't see, the bodyguard wrote. I've watched this one move through rooms like a controlled detonation. Every step calculated, every breath deliberate. Not hunting, just existing at a frequency that makes lies bleed. I'm paid to protect, but I wasn't paid to stand against the inevitable. They described your energy signature, said it looked like a star collapsing in reverse, like creation running backwards, like time itself getting nervous. Not dark exactly, not light exactly, something else, something that predates the division between dark and light, something from before things needed names. My clients don't understand, the letter continued. They think this is about protection, about safety, about maintaining their comfort. They don't realize they're asking me to hold back gravity, to shield them from their own karma, finally coming home, to stand between them and the consequences they've been running from since birth. The funniest part, you're not even aware of most of it. You're just living, just breathing, just walking through your day while reality reorganizes itself around your presence. You think it's coincidence that their luck turned, that their lies got exposed, that their carefully constructed false selves started crumbling. But coincidence doesn't explain why their protectors are fleeing. Let's talk about what you're actually carrying. This isn't anger. Anger is too small. This isn't revenge. Revenge is too personal. This is correction, universal correction, the kind that happens when someone who was supposed to stay small remembers they're infinite, when someone who was supposed to break discovers they're the unbreakable. In 1582, they had a name for it, called it the adjustment, when reality itself has to adjust because someone woke up who wasn't supposed to. Someone remembered what they were before the world convinced them to forget. Someone started operating from their original factory settings, not the programmed ones. Your frequency doesn't match any known pattern. It's not on any chart, can't be measured by any tool they've invented yet. Because it's not from here, it's from wherever you were before you agreed to come here, from wherever souls get forged, from the place where they make the things that make other things. That's why their bodyguards resigned. They recognized it, the signature of something that doesn't belong in protection battles, because it's above them, like asking a security guard to protect against gravity, against time, against the fundamental forces that hold reality together. Some things you don't guard against, you just get out of the way. People are starting to notice. The way conversations die when you enter, not from fear exactly, from recognition. Some ancient part of them knows what you are, even if their conscious mind doesn't. Knows that you're carrying something that hasn't walked here in centuries. Something that makes their small game seem suddenly ridiculous. They're having dreams about you. Did you know that? Waking up at 3:33 with your name in their throat? Not nightmares exactly, vision dreams, the kind that feel more real than real, where they see you standing in places you've never been, doing things you haven't done yet. Or have you? Time gets slippery around energy like yours. Their protection crystals are turning black. Their sage won't stay lit. Their meditation practices keep showing them your face. Not because you're attacking, because you're the truth they've been using all these tools to avoid seeing. You're the mirror they can't cover, the echo they can't silence, the reminder that everything hidden eventually gets revealed. And the bodyguards? They're not just resigning, they're warning others, don't take this contract, don't accept this client. Not if they're trying to hide from that one. Because professionals recognize professional grade power, and what you're carrying isn't amateur hour. It's the kind of force that reshapes centuries. Let's go back to 1582. October 4th became October 15th overnight, 10 days deleted. They told the public it was about astronomical accuracy, about fixing Easter, about making the calendar match the seasons, but the initiated knew someone had awakened with the old energy, the pre-civilization energy, the kind that makes time itself nervous. They had to remove those 10 days, because that's how long it took to contain what had been released, to rebuild the barriers, to convince reality to go back to pretending everything was normal. 10 days of negotiation between what was and what was becoming. 10 days of the universe holding its breath. But they could only delay it, not stop it, because this energy doesn't die. It just sleeps, waits, passes from soul to soul looking for the right vessel, the right circumstances, the right combination of power and pain and persistence, looking for someone who's been pushed past every breaking point and refused to break. That's you. That's why you're feeling this recognition in your bones, this sense that you've carried this before, in other bodies, other times, other calendars that had to be adjusted because you remembered who you were, the universe's error message, the glitch that reveals the code, the thing that makes protective spirits hand in their notice. Your DNA is singing at frequencies they haven't named yet. Your cells are remembering things your mind never learned. Your presence is becoming a gravitational force that bends probability around, not through effort, through existence, through the simple act of being what you are, without apology or explanation. They feel it in their bones when you're near. That ancient recognition, that cellular memory of the last time this energy walked free. Their bodies remember even if their minds don't. Remember what happened to those who stood against it. Remember why their ancestors built religions and calendars and complicated systems just to keep it contained. But you can't contain what refuses to be contained. Can't cage what was never meant for cages. Can't protect against something that isn't attacking but simply revealing. Your energy doesn't destroy their defenses. It shows their defenses what they're really defending. And that's when the protection itself decides to switch sides. That's what their bodyguard meant by "I won't guard against that." Not can't, won't. Because some forces are so purely themselves that opposing them feels like opposing existence itself, like trying to protect lies from truth, shadow from light, the false from the real. And protection spirits have wisdom. They know which side of history to be on. It's not just one bodyguard. They're all leaving. Every spiritual contractor, every energetic mercenary, every astral shield for hire. They're comparing notes in dimensions you can't see, sharing stories about the one who carries the 1582 frequency, the one whose very existence is rewriting the rules. "I've guarded against generational curses," one says. "But this isn't a curse, it's a correction. How do you guard against correction?" Another shares. "My client wanted protection from consequences, but this being is consequence, embodied, walking, breathing, inevitable. They're not scared, they're smart, they recognize authority when they see it. Your emergence is causing a crisis in the protection industry, because their entire business model is based on keeping the false safe from the true, the guilty safe from justice, the fake safe from exposure. But you're not playing by those rules. You're not sending attacks they can deflect. You're being truth they can't deny. And truth has its own protection. Did you know that? The kind that doesn't need hiring, doesn't need crystals or ceremonies. The kind that comes standard when you stop pretending to be less than you are. When you stop dimming your frequency to make others comfortable. When you finally let yourself exist at full volume. Something in you remembers 1582, not consciously, deeper, in the space between your heartbeats, in the pause between your thoughts. Some part of you was there, was always there. Every time this energy surfaced throughout history, different faces, different names, same frequency, same world-shaking presence. You remember the feeling of reality bending around you, of time itself having to adjust, of protection spirits laying down their weapons because they recognized royalty, not the kind crowned by humans, the kind crowned by existence itself, the kind that doesn't rule over things but through them, from within, inevitable. That's why you've always felt different, older than your years, heavier than your body, like you were carrying something ancient in your cells, something that predated language, predated fear, predated the very concept of protection, because it was the thing protection was invented to guard against. You were the first threat, the original disruption. And now you're back, not by choice, by necessity, because the world got too fake, too protected, too insulated from consequence, and existence itself needed someone to walk in and flip tables, someone who couldn't be bought, couldn't be threatened, couldn't be protected against, someone who carried the frequency that makes lies impossible. They're starting to recognize you in public, not your face, your frequency, the way you disrupt their carefully maintained illusions just by breathing, the way their practiced scripts fall apart in your presence, the way their protective bubbles pop like soap when you pass. They don't know why, but their bodies do, their spirits do. Watch them stutter when you make eye contact. Watch them forget their rehearsed responses. Watch them suddenly remember urgent appointments elsewhere. It's not conscious. It's cellular. Every fiber of their being recognizing the walking audit, the breathing consequence, the thing their protectors warned them about before resigning. You're becoming impossible to ignore, not because you're loud, because you're undeniable, like gravity, like time, like the truth everyone knows but agreed to forget. Your presence is removing that agreement, canceling that contract, making the pretense impossible to maintain, not through force, through fact. Their spiritual bodyguards saw this coming. That's why they left. Not from cowardice, from wisdom, because they understood that some things aren't meant to be opposed. Some frequencies aren't meant to be blocked. Some beings carry authority that predates any protection spell, authority written into the fabric of existence itself. Do you understand what it costs to guard against you? The energy expenditure, the spiritual resources, the cosmic overtime. Their protectors did the math and realized bankruptcy was inevitable, not financial, existential. The kind of deficit that leaves you empty in dimensions money can't touch, because your frequency doesn't attack once and retreat. It persists. It radiates. It exists constantly at a pitch that makes deception exhausting, like trying to lie in a room full of truth serum, like trying to hide in a space made of mirrors. Every moment in your presence costs them more energy than they can generate. That's what breaks them, not some dramatic confrontation, just the slow, steady drain of trying to maintain their false selves in the presence of someone who forgot how to be false. The accumulating cost of pretense, the compound interest on every lie they've told, all coming due at once because you walked in the room. Their bodyguards understood this mathematics, saw the inevitable bankruptcy, the energetic foreclosure, the spiritual repossession, and decided to cut their losses, to preserve what energy they had left, to resign before the mere act of opposing you drained them to nothing. Smart spirits know when to fold. It's not just individual protections failing. It's systematic, institutional. The entire infrastructure built to keep the false safe from the true is glitching. Every defense mechanism, every protective protocol, every shield and ward and barrier, all experiencing critical failure because you're not attacking the system. You are the error message the system can't process. Organizations built on deception are feeling it. Hierarchies maintained by illusion are wobbling. Power structures reinforced by spiritual protection are discovering their reinforcements have fled. Because what you carry doesn't respect human constructs, doesn't acknowledge artificial boundaries, doesn't recognize any authority but truth. The bodyguards aren't just leaving individual clients. They're leaving entire sectors, whole industries, abandoning posts they've held for generations because they've seen what's coming. Not destruction, revelation. The kind that makes protection pointless because there's nothing left to hide, nothing left to defend, nothing left but what's real. And you're the catalyst, not by intention, by existence, by the simple act of walking through the world at your actual frequency instead of the dimmed version they tried to train you to accept. By refusing to lower your vibration to match their comfort. By being what you are without negotiation or compromise. Welcome back, you impossible equation, you walking paradox, you breathing contradiction that the universe keeps trying to solve, but can't. There's something moving inside you right now, and I need you to feel it. Not with your hands, not with your logic, but with that part of you that wakes up at 3 in the morning knowing something is fundamentally different about your existence. They've been circling you, haven't they? Not with cameras, not with questions, but with that specific kind of attention that makes your skin crawl. The kind that feels like being studied by something that doesn't understand what it's looking at, but knows it should be afraid. Here's what nobody's telling you, what they can't tell you, because the moment they say it out loud, the whole illusion collapses. You're not carrying potential. You're not carrying promise. You're not carrying some cute little spark that might grow into something someday. You're carrying a weapon so ancient, so fundamentally wrong according to the laws they wrote, that your mere existence is an act of rebellion. This isn't about confidence. This isn't about believing in yourself or manifesting your destiny or any of that watered down, safe for consumption nonsense. This is about the fact that something crawled inside your chest cavity years ago, nested in your rib cage, and has been growing in the dark ever since. They felt it first during those moments when you went too quiet, when your eyes glazed over and you disappeared into yourself while still sitting right there in front of them. They thought you were daydreaming, checking out, being antisocial. They had no idea you were loading. They had no idea that every second of that silence was you downloading something from frequencies they can't even detect. You weren't ignoring them. You were listening to transmissions from dimensions they don't have access to. And what you heard, what you absorbed, what you integrated into your cellular memory, that's the weapon they're terrified of now. Let me tell you what happened while you thought you were just surviving. While you thought you were just getting through another day, another betrayal, another disappointment that carved pieces out of your faith in humanity, you were actually being forged. Every lie someone told you wasn't just pain, it was ammunition. Every time someone walked away, they weren't abandoning you. They were making room for something inside you to expand. Every night you spent alone, questioning everything, hating the reflection in the mirror, wishing you were anyone else. You were actually in training, And the training was so brutal, so complete, so far beyond what normal human consciousness can withstand, that you came out the other side as something else entirely. You want to know why people can't explain you anymore. Why their words fail when they try to describe what you've become? It's because the language was built for humans, and whatever you're carrying now, it predates human language. It predates human civilization. It predates the structures they use to make sense of reality. You're walking around with something in your chest that was supposed to stay buried. Something that was supposed to remain theoretical. Something that the ancient texts whispered about, but never named, because naming it would give it form, and form would give it power. You noticed it, didn't you? How the people who used to have so much to say about you, so many opinions, so many diagnoses, so many labels ready to slap on your forehead, they all went quiet at the exact same time. It wasn't gradual. It wasn't a slow fade. It was like someone flipped a switch and suddenly, overnight, the noise stopped. They're still watching, oh yes, they're watching closer than ever. But now, they're watching the way you watch a storm forming on the horizon. The way you watch a predator that just noticed you noticing it. They're watching with held breath and sweating palms because something in their primitive brainstem is screaming danger. Here's what triggered the silence, and I need you to understand this with every cell in your body. They realized you stopped defending yourself, not because you got tired, not because you gave up, but because something inside you understood that defense implies you have something to defend against, and you don't anymore. You stopped explaining your actions because explanations require you to believe their framework is valid. You stopped justifying your choices because justification means you accept their authority to judge. And the moment you stopped playing that game, the moment you withdrew your participation from their entire system of evaluation, that's when they felt it. The shift. The click. The unmistakable sensation of prey becoming predator. They sent people to test you, didn't they? Casual encounters that felt too convenient. Old faces showing up at weird times. Questions disguised as concern. Offers that seemed too good. All of it designed to probe, to measure, to see if the thing they sensed growing inside you was real or just their paranoid imagination. And what happened? You didn't react. You didn't bite. You didn't even acknowledge the manipulation. You just looked at them with those eyes. Those new eyes that see 17 moves ahead, and smiled. That smile, that particular smile that doesn't reach the eyes but somehow reaches into their chest and squeezes their heart. That smile told them everything they feared was true. You're carrying something that learned from every single person who ever hurt you. It studied them. It absorbed their tactics. It memorized their patterns. And now it knows exactly how they think, exactly how they operate, exactly where their weaknesses hide. This weapon inside you, it's not about violence. It's not about revenge. It's about something far more terrifying to them, complete immunity to their control mechanisms. They can't guilt you because you've been through worse. They can't shame you because you've already died 1,000 deaths. They can't tempt you because you've tasted the bottom and found something precious down there. They can't threaten you because you've already lost everything. And in that loss, you found the one thing they could never take. The weapon is recognition. The weapon is sight. The weapon is the ability to see through every mask, every performance, every carefully constructed persona they hide behind. You look at people now and you don't see what they're showing you. You see the machinery underneath. You see the fear powering their confidence. You see the emptiness behind their accomplishments. You see the desperation in their laughter, and they can feel your sight on them like heat. They can feel you reading them in real time, and it makes them want to run, because being seen that completely, that's a kind of nakedness they never consented to. Something changed in your energy signature, and I'm not talking about mood swings or personality shifts. I'm talking about the actual vibration you emit just by existing in a space. You used to match the room, didn't you? Used to adjust yourself to fit the frequency of whoever you were around. Used to be a chameleon, blending in, making others comfortable, shrinking or expanding based on what the situation required. That ability to modulate, to adapt, to transform yourself into whatever was needed, people praised you for it. They called it emotional intelligence. They called it maturity. They had no idea they were praising you for slowly erasing yourself. But something broke inside that mechanism. The thing that used to automatically adjust your frequency to match others. It stopped working. And at first you thought it was damage. You thought the years of betrayal and isolation had broken some essential part of you that knew how to connect, how to relate, how to be human with other humans. You mourned that loss. You tried to fix it. You pushed yourself to be normal again, to feel what you used to feel, to care about what you used to care about. And the harder you tried, the more alien you became to yourself. Until one day, one random, unremarkable day, you realized something that changed everything. It wasn't broken, it evolved. Your frequency didn't disappear, it crystallized. It locked into something so specific, so precise, so utterly yours that it can't be bent anymore. And now, when you walk into a room, you're not adjusting to match anyone. They're adjusting to match you, or they're leaving. One or the other. No middle ground. Because your frequency is too strong now, too defined, too absolutely certain of itself. It's like you've become a tuning fork, vibrating at a note that either resonates with someone's core or creates such dissonance they physically can't stand to be near you. And you're fine with both outcomes, because you've finally understood the secret. You're not here to harmonize with everyone. You're here to be the frequency that sorts the real from the fake. This weapon inside you, it generates an energy field that functions like a truth detector. People can't lie smoothly around you anymore. Their voices crack. Their eyes dart. Their body language betrays them before they finish their sentences. It's not that you got better at reading people, though you did. It's that your presence creates a field where deception becomes physically difficult to maintain. Like they're trying to speak underwater, like they're trying to run in a dream. The truth just wants to come out when you're there because your frequency demands authenticity, even from people who've forgotten what that word means. And the ones who live entirely in lies, entirely in performance, entirely in manufactured personas, they can't be around you for more than a few minutes before they start making excuses to leave. You've become a walking lie detector. A human truth serum, a presence that forces people to confront the gap between who they pretend to be and who they actually are. And that specific ability, that's what makes you so dangerous to the systems built on deception. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to call anyone out. You don't have to expose or accuse or attack. You just have to exist in your frequency and watch everything fake start to crumble around you. The weapon isn't what you do. The weapon is what you are. an unchangeable frequency that reality itself has to bend around, because you're no longer bending for anyone. Let me tell you something they'll never admit. There are people sitting in rooms right now, actual rooms with doors and locks, running scenarios about you. Not because you did anything, not because you threatened anyone, but because they can't predict you anymore. And unpredictability is the only thing that truly terrifies control systems. Ha! They've got files, not literal files maybe, but mental files, emotional files, spaces in their consciousness dedicated entirely to figuring out what you might do next. And every scenario they run ends with them losing, every single one, because they're trying to game out your moves using logic that doesn't apply to you anymore. They think in terms of ambition, so they assume you want what they want: power, status, recognition, wealth, influence. They're preparing for you to climb their ladder, to compete in their game, to challenge them for their position. And they're ready for that. They've got defenses built for that. But you're not climbing any ladder. You're not playing any game. You're building something else entirely, in a dimension they can't perceive. So all their preparations, all their strategies, all their careful defensive positions, completely useless. You're not coming for what they have, because what they have lost its value to you years ago. You're after something they can't even conceptualize. The weapon inside you, it's got a targeting system they can't understand because it doesn't target things. It targets illusions. It targets false structures. It targets the invisible agreements that keep their world stable. You're not attacking people. You're attacking the belief systems that allow certain people to have power over others. You're attacking the invisible contracts that say some voices matter more than others. You're attacking the unspoken rules that keep most humans in invisible cages their whole lives. And the most brilliant part, you're doing it by simply refusing to honor those agreements anymore. You're not fighting the system. You're just declining to participate, and your declination is more threatening than any revolution. Every time you choose differently, every time you walk away from something they told you to want, every time you refuse to be impressed by what impresses everyone else, you're weakening the structure. You're showing others it's possible to exist outside the program. And that's contagious, that's viral. That's the thing they fear most, the possibility that your way of being might spread. That others might see you living free and realize they've been living in chains. So they run their scenarios. They try to predict when you'll break, when you'll conform, when you'll come crawling back to the safety of the system. And every day you don't, every day you keep walking your path with zero apology, their scenarios get more desperate. They're realizing something that's keeping them up at night. You're not an outlier. You're not a glitch. You're not a mistake. You're a preview. You're the prototype. You're the first version of something that's coming for all of them eventually. The weapon inside you isn't unique to you. It's just activated in you first. And if it activated in you, if it chose you to carry it, that means it can activate in others. That means the thing they thought was safely buried in the past, safely contained in forgotten texts, safely theoretical, it's awake now. It's mobile, it's learning, and you're the proof of concept. You feel it sometimes, don't you? That thing moving behind your rib cage, not your heart, something else. Something that breathes differently. Something that wakes up when everything else in you is trying to sleep. It moves in the spaces between your thoughts. It speaks in the silence between your words. It's been building itself, cell by cell, memory by memory, scar by scar, until it became something with its own intelligence, its own agenda, its own mission that might not perfectly align with what your conscious mind thinks it wants. And that's the part that scares you sometimes, isn't it? The realization that you're carrying something that's becoming more powerful than the you that's carrying it. This weapon has memory, not your memory, something older. It remembers things that happened before you were born. It recognizes patterns that span centuries. It knows the taste of betrayal like an old friend, because it's tasted it 1,000,000 times. When you meet certain people and instantly distrust them for no logical reason, that's not paranoia. That's the weapon recognizing ancestral predators. When you avoid certain situations that look perfectly safe on the surface, that's not anxiety. That's the weapon reading frequencies your conscious mind can't detect. When you make choices that don't make sense to anyone, including yourself, that's not confusion. That's the weapon navigating, using instruments you don't consciously understand. You've started to notice how it protects you, haven't you? How doors close just before you walk through them into disasters. How people leave your life right before they would have destroyed you. How opportunities vanish right before they would have trapped you. You used to call it bad luck. You used to think you were cursed. You used to wonder why nothing ever worked out the way you planned. Now you're starting to understand. The weapon was steering. The weapon was intervening. The weapon was keeping you off the paths that led to comfortable cages and pushing you toward the terrible, beautiful freedom you're experiencing now. It saved you from yourself 100 times. It saved you from a normal life. It saved you from safety, because safety would have killed what you're becoming. The revolution isn't happening in the streets. It's happening in your chest. In that space where the weapon lives and grows and learns. It's rewiring your instincts. It's rewriting your values. It's rebuilding your entire understanding of what matters and what doesn't. Money looks different now. Fame looks different now. Love looks different now. Success looks different now. Everything you were taught to want, the weapon has been systematically devaluing in your mind, replacing those desires with something else, something they don't have words for, something that feels like hunger but not for food, something that feels like love but not for people, something that feels like purpose but not tied to any career or cause. It's a drive towards something that doesn't exist yet, a pull toward a future that isn't written. And here's the thing that'll break your brain if you think about it too long. The weapon isn't separate from you. It is you. The real you. The you that existed before they told you who to be. Before they convinced you to hide, to shrink, to apologize for your intensity. Before they taught you that your natural state was somehow wrong and needed to be fixed. The weapon is your original frequency, your default setting, your factory settings before they installed all their programs. What you're carrying isn't something foreign that invaded you. It's something original that survived everything they tried to kill it with. You're not becoming something new. You're remembering something ancient. They've tried everything, haven't they? Try to categorize you, diagnose you, label you, explain you using their frameworks and their models and their neat little boxes. And every attempt fails. Every diagnosis feels incomplete. Every label slides off. Every box you're put in, you somehow exist outside of simultaneously. They'll say you're this, and you'll show them qualities of that. They'll commit to that and you'll demonstrate characteristics of something else entirely. You're not being difficult on purpose. You're not trying to confuse them. It's just that what you're carrying doesn't fit in any of their categories because it predates the categories themselves. The weapon inside you, it's got properties that their instruments can't measure. It operates on frequencies their equipment wasn't built to detect. It functions according to laws that aren't in their textbooks. When they try to study you, they're like people trying to understand the ocean by analyzing a single drop of water.